So today I am going to talk to you about the concept of associations and the notion that there is power in associations. I'm going to spend time talking to you about where we've been as an organization and where we are going as an organization, and how you can be informed and activated and engaged in our future. So first of all, I'd like to take a quick moment and level set about associations. So hold off on reading the slide for just a minute as I just explained to you. First of all, fun fact, there is an association for associations, and that association is called ASAE. ASAE is an organization that supports organizations like NAHQ and many others across the country and around the world to do their best work. So let's talk quickly about what an association is and what it does. An association brings a group of people together for a specific purpose. People come together to associate, to do things together that they could not do on their own. What is also a fun fact that you may not be aware of is that in the United States today, there are almost 67,000 trade and professional associations. NAHQ fits into that category. And there are over 1 million charitable and philanthropic organizations out there. So how do they benefit society? Why are we here today and every day in support of this mission? So associations really empower people to get involved in issues and in crises in some cases that affect their communities and their quality of life. The point of associations is for people to associate, to come together to make things better. Associations are governed by a board of directors who are often a volunteer board who come together because they care about the profession and they want to make it better. And they want to help the people who will come after them and lead the organization forward. Very often there are staff supporting those organizations, like myself and some others that you have experienced here this week. But here at NAHQ headquarters, we have more than 30 full-time staff, and we also outsource a fair amount of services. So we have a robust support system here for you at headquarters, really making sure that as we activate our board, as we activate our strategic advisory councils and other committees, that there's a support staff, because volunteers have a day job, and that is working in healthcare quality. They work in healthcare quality, we work on healthcare quality and really help advance this whole cause forward. So on my next slide, what I'd like to share with you is just sort of the notion of the building blocks of a profession and how this association, NAHQ, really moves that forward. So first, I'm just going to talk kind of academically about how this framework works. And then in a few minutes, I'm going to give you the NAHQ specific example. So as the story goes, the traditional route for how an association is formed is that people who have similar interests come together to help each other. And they come together to say, you know, I have something that I'm working on, something that's important to me, and I wonder if there's other people who care about that same thing too. And they come together and they form a membership and they say, we together are going to solve a problem or take advantage of an opportunity. Very shortly after those people come together, they often start to realize that they know things that the other peers and colleagues in the group don't know. And they say, well, we should educate each other and help each other learn. I know this, I'm an expert in this area, you're an expert in that area. Let's share that knowledge. Let's educate each other. And all the while, more and more people are coming into this membership. So we're together and we're educating each other. Pretty soon, most organizations who are advancing a profession will say, you know, we're together. We know a lot of things. We should have a certification. Because if we did, what that would signify to everyone else is that we know things that are unique and distinct and important that other people don't. So let's have a certification to validate that we know what we're doing and we're qualified to do this work. And so after they've gotten together and they've educated and they've become certified, then the most likely next step is to say, we want to tell everybody about it because we are together and we are educating and we are certified, and everybody should know that we are the most qualified people to do this job. And after that, the likely next step is more in the public affairs space, where those people say, well, now that everybody or more people know about what we're doing, what we really need to do is make sure people are advocating for us. We need people directing time, attention, resources, decisions on a national scale in our direction in support of what we believe in. So these are the building blocks of an association in a lot of cases, and always the building blocks of a profession. So when we think about profession, we often think about that foundational building block of membership. So I will share with you some reasons why membership is important. So supporting the collective work of the profession and expanding the work of that profession is very, very important. What we're aiming for here at NAHQ is to increase the visibility and credibility of quality and the people who do that work. Membership also is important because it demonstrates your passion for healthcare quality and your commitment to the profession to say, I belong. This is my professional organization. It also supports our collective work in defining and promoting the adoption of the healthcare quality competency framework and upskilling the workforce. So as we work together as an organization, members are the people on the ground who are spreading the good word. Sure, we do a lot of work here at headquarters to get out and about and make sure that we're working with you and for you, but very important is to make sure that you're doing that too, and we can help you with that. And finally, membership will help position you for your best success as an individual. So there's the in it for me part of it, and there's the in it for we part of it, which is really, really important. So if you take a look at the next slide, this is what it might feel like if you're out there on your own, trying to figure out how you can do your best work despite all the odds and all the weight and pressure that is on you and your really important roles, and maybe not having that support system, that professional home, people who care about you and want to help you advance your own self and advance the profession. So this is what it feels like when you don't have a professional membership organization. And this is what it feels like when you do. So we have a board and volunteers and staff professionals all taking that big, heavy boulder and pushing it and pulling it up the mountain together so that we are able to affect very positive change. So now I'm going to tell you NAHQ's story, which is one of my most favorite stories to tell. I love working at NAHQ. I love working for associations, and I love advancing professions. So it's a delight to get to share this tidbit of history and to tell you also where we're going. So NAHQ was founded in, well, let me back up the bus for 1 second. So let's just talk about 1965. 1965, Lyndon B. Johnson signs Medicare into law. And at that point in time, what happened is the federal government became a payer for healthcare. And as the story goes, long story short, oversimplified to quickly move through this conversation, but generally speaking, as they started to get the bills for healthcare that they had opted to pay for through Medicare, they realized it was very expensive. And they were trying to get a handle on all of these expenses and thought that they needed people to really focus on utilization review. What is going on in healthcare? What are the services being provided and how much are we paying for this, right? And that was the time frame that people started to be assigned this work. So people working in healthcare, often nurses at the time, were tapped on to say, hey, we're having some, need to really understand our utilization review. You're clinical. You understand this stuff. Would you go sit and look at all those charts and try and make heads or tails of this, because the government is asking what's going on? And so through that process, NAHQ was born. So NAHQ was founded in 1976, just about 10 years later. And we say NAHQ, just like I say it, NAHQ. So if you want to say it where you're at, say NAHQ, right? NAHQ. Some people say NAHQ, not correct. Some people say NAHQ, not so great. We want to say it together because when we say it the same way, people know who we are. So the way we say that is NAHQ. So with that, here is the first slate of the board of directors at NAHQ. founded by President Rebecca Dimitrov-Jones and others who were great leaders and had amazing foresight and were so committed to coming together to create a membership where they started to help each other. They also started to educate each other and really advance the profession. These people are why we are here today, and all of the leaders that have preceded them have played a very, very important role in building NAHQ to where it is and setting us up for a fabulous, fabulous future. So if we take a look at the next slide, not only did they come together and form an association, but they also, as I mentioned, education. And then they said, you know what? We know how to do things other people don't. And so in 1983, they developed the CPHQ, the only accredited certification still today in healthcare quality. And that accredited certification has stood the test of time. And today we have more than 14,000 active CPHQs. That number, in fact, has doubled since I started working here almost 9 years ago. We are just seeing rapid adoption of this time-tested certification. And one of the main reasons for that is not only is the market calling for that, the education and training that is required to be certified, but also another reason why is because it stood the test of time. We are constantly going through methodical processes to make sure that we have the right staff developing this, we have the right volunteers developing this. We work with psychometricians and all sorts of infrastructure to make sure that this exam is the best it can be and that it best represents what is needed in the field. So with that, in terms of how this all came together, quick visual for you, you can see that for a lot of years, a lot of people have been really working to advance this organization so that NAHQ could advance the profession. And so starting in 1976, we had our journal in 79. CPHQ was started in 83, but our first person who passed the exam was in 1984. That was CPHQ number 1. We also have established a foundation and have our ethics, which we've talked a lot about ethics, right? NAHQ is in the ethics, conversation all the way back in 1993, and we have not given up. And in fact, we've invested more time and more resources to make sure that what we're doing is really relevant today. We also, have established different networks. We have also committed, as you well know, to the healthcare quality competency framework. Of course, our first generation of that was HQ Essentials, which was foundational in terms of our journey. We also used to be managed by an association management organization. When I started NAHQ 9 years ago, there were 5 part-time staff supporting the profession of healthcare quality. And today, as I mentioned, we have more than 30 with a lot of other extra support services. So we are robust and really ready to support you. Not only that, but we have the healthcare quality competency framework, which if you have not gotten the memo after 2 days of NAHQ Next, I'm sure that you have. This is the way forward in healthcare quality. And we're so proud of this work because it defines once and for all what quality is, capital Q, what must be present in your organization if you have a high functioning quality shop. And it can also help with career pathing. Then in 2020, we piloted Workforce Accelerator. You have heard about that a fair amount. That will be on our next slide, where we really tried to figure out a way where we could take all of this great work that we were doing with individuals and deploy it on scale. And why was that important? Because we know there's a lot of people working in quality. And if NAHQ were to pursue its mission, sort of one quality professional at a time, it'd be really hard to advance that mission very fast. So we're approaching it from a couple directions, which I'll go into more detail on in a minute. But Workforce Accelerator, landmark offering, followed closely then with all that data coming in by our intelligence offering, which really is all about bringing net new knowledge to the field. You're going to be blown away. It's unbelievable. It is a fabulous work product that speaks for you and about you, and we hope advances you and gives you a story to tell with data about your value and where there needs to be even more investment in the profession. And yay, NAHQ Next this year, we have 5,000 people attending NAHQ Next. This is double what we had last year. We have doubled every year since we took this event virtual. It's unbelievable. Your engagement is unbelievable too, by the way. People just don't sign up for this and, kind of check in and a couple sessions on demand later when they have a free minute. You guys are locked into this event. I can't believe the numbers of people, thousands and thousands, are showing up live for all of these events. And the questions, I think you all asked one of our speakers 171 questions. You are in it. So we love that about you and appreciate your engagement there. So our mission at NAHQ is to prepare a coordinated, competent workforce to lead and advance quality across the continuum of care. And our vision is to make sure that healthcare quality competencies are recognized and are valued as essential to achieving quality, safety, equity, and value. And so when we look at our building blocks in total, what we see is a lot of progress and a lot of improvement, really led and supported by a lot of volunteers and a lot of staff who have committed to really climbing this mountain together. And I'm very pleased to say that our membership is very strong. We have more than 9,000 members. I want 25,000 members to be part of NAHQ, at least. I feel like that, is a reasonable goal considering how many of you are out there and the work that we could do if we had more power in numbers, more people that we're representing. So we want you to join us. Education, very, very important. Lots of education going on. The certification, the public relations, the workforce report, the media, really, really important. So a few quick facts, our work in action. This is a quick little infographic just to share with you, what we have been able to accomplish in terms of attendance. Our membership is growing, our certifications are growing. This doesn't get done without resources. Every business in the world needs more gas in the tank. And so the more gas we have in our tank, the more that we can do. And so growing the revenue is also important to us, and also very important to us. Remember, I mentioned to you ASAE, the Association for Associations. They have recognized NAHQ 3 times for our work in workforce development. So that has been wonderful that we've been able to do that. We also have the Healthcare Quality Competency Framework. You know that well. And then on these slides, if you want a broad view of what NAHQ is focusing on, here it is. NAHQ is focusing on what we call our points of arrival. And we have 6 points of arrival. 3 are prioritized today as the ones that are getting the most resources, the most attention. The 4th, international, does get resources and attention, although not quite as much as the others. And our academic, that's our higher ed partnerships and advocacy. We're doing some passive work in those areas, but when we get more gas in our tank, we can do a lot more with those areas as well. So this was just approved by the board about 1.5 years ago. And I think we've made great progress. So let's go through each of these and really understanding too all of our data that is tying this all together. So from an individual perspective, we have a lot of resources, and I've just quickly summarized them here, but here's what we want to do. We want to be your trusted resource for healthcare quality competencies, for the training, for the certification, and for all the knowledge that you need to do your work well. And we have a lot of resources to do that, and we're building a lot more. So some of the things that you can expect to see from us in the future include even more content. I don't know if you know this, but members have access to our learning labs for free. Every time we offer them, which is about 8 or 10 times a year, that is free content. Hundreds of people do these every month. You should do it too. Not only that, but we are continuing to build the better NAHQ Next every year. We're always in that improvement cycle as well. And we are planning to release micro-credentials next year, which will be very exciting. So lots involved in our individual point of arrival. Our organizational point of arrival, I mentioned to you, we wanted to serve more people more often. And what we really want to do is to be the trusted resource for healthcare quality competencies, trainings, and certifications for organizations. So you heard a lot this week, especially in the session that Ted Donnelly, our NAHQ navigator, led with two of our Workforce Accelerator clients and one team training client about how we are going into healthcare organizations and we're helping them build capacity for quality. We are helping them unleash human potential. I am so excited about this work because it helps the organization and it helps the people who work there. And some of the results that come out of that are really, really impressive. Not only moving the organizational goals, but each person gets a professional development plan pinpointed for their learning needs. How great is that? How many times are you asked to do in-services for stuff that is irrelevant or that you've already known how to do, right? We target training. So please visit our website to learn more about all of these awesome offerings. Benchmarking is another huge one. We, really need to be doing advocacy work for you. And really, really important in that is to have more data. So please participate in benchmarking. And finally, intelligence. So as we are collecting all this data from individuals, from organizations, what we are creating is the only database in the world that understands who is doing what in quality and who it can start to understand what good looks like. And so from our vision in working with the board of directors and others is really to say, we want to be the group that is defining the DNA. What is the DNA of a high performing individual, of a high performing organization? And how do we measure that? That is the future for NAHQ, is to make prospective recommendations on this. And again, the more gas we get in our tank, the further we're going to be able to go with that. So I'm very, very proud of all of this work. I hope you visit the intelligence section of our website. So finally, last slide, it's a repeat. Membership is incredibly important. And I hope that you join NAHQ to support yourself, to support your me, and to support we. It's very, very important. So with that, I'm concluding my remarks on the power of associations.